Will the Detroit Pistons let Jalen Duren be great? That's the question that I kind of have right now. I've been looking through a bunch of examples of who Jalen Duren can potentially gleam as a prototype for his development. And I think the closest in terms of body type, athleticism, potential type of versatile style of play kind of fell somewhere between like a Chris Webber and an Alonzo Mourning. Chris Webber, in terms of his ability to advance the ball, to facilitate, to finish around the rim explosively. He has really good length. But then Alonzo Mourning, he kind of has more of the same type of build of a Jalen Duren, where he's just really broad, really thick arms and shoulders, and he's just able to move a lot of guys out the way. He's got really good hands, a really physical presence inside. And as Duren is starting to show, a lot of defensive potential. But one of the things that is a commonality between Chris Webber and Alonzo Mourning is a jump shot. Is a jump shot. Both of them, early on in their careers, are hitting jump shots regularly, out to 18 to 20 feet. Now, granted, Alonzo Mourning stayed all 4 years at the University of Georgetown or Georgetown University, and Chris Webber was at the University of Michigan for 2 years. So they had more time to develop. And yet, both of them utilized that jump shot as a weapon to make up for their lack of size, especially when playing on the interior. Chris Webber with the Golden State Warriors early on did not have that dominant center next to him, or even a true center. He's playing alongside of guys like Chris Gatling, right? Chris Gatling's 6'9" on a good day. And so Chris Webber was generally the biggest guy on the front line for his team, and yet he had to figure out how to make that work. And one of the ways is by having a jump shot. Now, I know the season has been such a roller coaster, ups and downs, an extremely tough schedule early on, struggles from Jalen Duren and Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey figuring things out in the starting lineup alongside Cade Cunningham, Asar Thompson out early with the blood clots and still being held out for precautionary. And then by the time he's let back in and allowed to play, then all of a sudden Jaden Ivey goes down. And our roster just has not had an opportunity to find that continuity, that rhythm. And yet, down this recent stretch, going into the new year, they have found something special. They have found their defensive identity, getting out in transition. They've been the number 2 team in terms of transition scoring. They've been one of the top 5, I believe, defenses after the new year. Jalen Duren is doing his best to model after Alonzo Mourning's defense and trying to block shots while staying out of foul trouble and being an interior presence. And yet, as much as we love the double-doubles and the block shots, there just seems to be more that Jalen Duren can offer. And I believe the jump shot is at the core of it. Because with a jump shot, Jalen Duren moves from being a role player, being a really good player, to being an all-star. And when I say all-star, meaning that he has the opportunity to become an offensive hub, where he is able to dominate in a variety of ways, whether it's facilitating, attacking mismatches, scoring in the post, getting to the free throw line, blocking shots, rebounding, and knocking down a jump shot. You see, it's not that Jalen Duren can't score with regularity as is. I think right now, between his ability to get out in transition, post up, which he hasn't gotten enough opportunities to do, because he has excellent footwork, his ability to catch lobs, get dump offs, and things of that nature, he can get to about 16 points a game. Easily, roughly 14 to 16, 17 points a game, just how he is. And he give you a double-double, a rebounding, and definitely 4 to 5 assists in a game, and maybe a block or 2. And if he has a jump shot. If he has a jump shot, he becomes something completely different. He shifts out of being a role player and he shifts into being a star. And when you think about longevity in terms of this team's makeup, and their long-term outlook. Jalen Duren becoming a star should be as much a part of this front office outlook as Asar Thompson becoming a star, Jaden Ivey becoming a star, and growing Cade Cunningham from a star into a superstar. Because that is the core. That's the four. That's the four right there. That four is getting you to an NBA championship. That four is completely transforming what this team's outlook is going to be. And as much as people are enjoying the wins now, I keep saying this is not the goal. The goal is not to barely get into the playoffs or to get in and have an exciting first or second round. The goal is a championship. These are the Detroit Pistons. This is not the Charlotte Hornets. It's not the Utah Jazz. This is not the Minnesota Timberwolves. You're not just happy to get there. And I know last season's been tough. The last few seasons have been tough. But hey, Detroit Pistons fans, remember we've been here for a while. Remember the Rodney Stuckey, Charlie Villanueva era. The Andre Drummond, Reggie Jackson era. Remember the Grant Hill era. We've been through some things. And yet in the midst of that, we have the bad boy resurgence with Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Tayshaun, Chauncey, and Rip. Lindsey off the bench with Corliss Williamson and guys like that. And then there was the crew that set the foundation for all of this. Zeke, Isaiah Thomas, one of the most all-time slept-on superstars of the NBA. Should be in that pantheon of greatest of all time. I personally, I have him over Stephen Curry and guys like that. He just, he did more with less and did a whole lot more. 2 championships as the team's best player, playing up against Magic and Bird and Jordan. That says something. That says something to me. All that's to say is the expectation for the outlook of this team is different. It's changed. It's not just being happy to get there. You know, one of the things that I was thinking about was that it would be the greatest, not the greatest, I think it would be a major feather in J.B. Bickerstaff's hat if he were to develop Jalen Duren's jump shot. And I mean this season, next season, but definitely by the end of this season, if Jalen Duren was to start taking that 10 to 12 foot, 16 foot jump shot with regularity, and all of a sudden you see the progression of his game and you see this open-mindedness to develop a big man. All of a sudden the narrative around his inability to develop Evan Mobley and the reason why they needed to fire him and bring in Kenny Atkinson, right, begins to go away, because you look at Jalen Duren and you say, well, none of us really thought of him as a jump shooter, and yet you saw it and you're cultivating it and you're growing it, and now it looks like a real weapon. Wow. Maybe that wasn't you after all. Maybe it wasn't your fault. Maybe you kind of got a raw deal, but yet you still lucked out because now you're with the Pistons and you're back in the playoffs the very next year. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So, as always, I want to know what you all think. Do you think a jump shot is that final piece to making Jalen Duren an all-star? I do. I don't even think it needs to be a three-point jump shot. I just think it needs to get out to about 18 feet. If he gets to that little 18 to 20-foot jump shot with regularity, he is going to be close to unstoppable. Because if you get too close, he's got excellent footwork, and his strength allows him to burrow past just about anybody. And he has a nice, if you saw last game, a little spin move, a little up and under. He's got the footwork. You give him a jump shot, he becomes just about unstoppable. But as always, get at me in the comment section. It's your man 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you stayed with me this long, put a little basketball symbol in the comment section. I'm going to make sure I get back to your response first. I'm going to holler at y'all next time. Peace.